It's August 1st, which means one thing, we're going to play some games this month. Which also means another thing, it's time to do previews for all 14 Big Ten teams. We're starting from the bottom. Now we're here. Let's start with the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Rutgers is coming off a 5-7 season from last year in 2021 in the regular season, 5-8 if you include that bowl loss. 2022, when you start with Rutgers, I think you gotta start with offense and what they've done in the offseason to try to bolster that unit. It starts at the quarterback position, because do you go with old, reliable, old, steady? Or do you go with something new, fresh, shiny, and exciting? Do you go with Noah Vedral, or do you go with Gavin Wimsatt? The last 4 Big Ten games last season, Noah Vedral, all of those games under 100 passing yards. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions total on the season in 2021. But when you look at Gavin, this is a 4-star, top 25 quarterback in the 2020 class. This is a guy that a lot of people around Piscataway, New Jersey are really pumped to see play. No matter who is at quarterback, whether it's Vedral or whether it's Gavin Wimsatt, there's going to be some new weapons to throw to. Syracuse transfer Taj Harris, probably the biggest transfer pickup for Rutgers, is he can beat a guy in one-on-one over the top. 50, 60, 70-yard receptions. That's the kind of guy Taj Harris is. And if there's one thing that's been lacking at Rutgers, it's big play ability. Another guy I really like, Sean Ryan. He's a transfer from West Virginia. He was 4th on the Mountaineers in receiving yards last season. I see a guy that can separate. I see a guy that can catch short yardage, make plays in a yards after catch situation. Rutgers might have a little bit, not a lot, maybe a little bit of explosiveness in their offense this season. The Rutgers offensive line is going to be really made up of 3 big transfers this season. So let's kind of talk about the 2 big interior transfers, because I think these transfers are going to make this a very formidable Rutgers offensive line. First, let's talk about J.D. Dorenzo. He was an FCS All-American at Sacred Heart. You're looking at 6'6", 315. They're anticipating him starting at one of the guard positions. He's going to be moving. Curtis Dunlap Jr., the former Golden Gopher in Minnesota. He was a 2019 All-Big Ten player at Minnesota during that great year for the Gophers in 2019, in which Minnesota won 11 games. 2020, had some injuries. 2021, he entered the transfer portal pretty early in the season. Curtis Dunlap is one of those big boys. 6'5", 345 pounds. There are going to be some big-time movers in the interior of that Rutgers offensive line, and you know that's going to help that running game. Speaking of running game, let's talk about it. Kyle Manon guy is going to be the main guy. He's a physical runner. He runs a lot bigger than his size, according to coaches. And that's, I think, where this offense is going to center around. This is a team that I think wants to be physical up front. I talk about those big interior offensive linemen. I think this is a team that really wants to pound the rock and then hit big plays with those speed guys over the top. One guy to keep an eye on, Aaron Cruikshank. I looked at him in various games last season. He has the ability to get open. I think he's going to be a good 3rd or 4th option for the Scarlet Knights. He's going to be dangerous on special teams in the return game. One of the better returners in the Big Ten. If Aaron Cruikshank can stay healthy, that special teams could be awfully special, especially in the return game. That's a lot of specials. We got to talk about it. Defense. Let's talk about the pass defense for just a second. They were 10th in the Big Ten. That seems not great. But if you really look at it, they had a better pass defense statistically than Ohio State and Michigan State, and both of those teams played in New Year's Six Bowls last year. This is a defense I think they're going to be anchored by their defensive line and their secondary. They got a lot of guys returning on those 2 units, but when I look at that projected depth chart for linebacker, they're young, they're inexperienced. I see a lot of SOs, and I see a lot of FRs. This defense is going to improve this season. I love what they have coming back in the secondary. They have stability within the defensive backfield, especially Max Melton. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for opposing receivers. He's going to be able to lock down. He created turnovers last year, 3 interceptions. A lot of those other safeties back there can make tackles, can step up in the running game. And Aaron Lewis, I think, would wreak havoc on the defensive line. They got some transfers coming in. This is going to be an improved Rutgers defense. And when I look outside of their first 3 games, I don't see a game where I say, yep, they're definitely going to win that football game. Yep, they're definitely better than that team. This is a team, yeah. Could they go 2-10? Could they go 3-9? Of course they could. I got a feeling deep down in my belly that teams like Northwestern, Illinois, and Rutgers are going to beat some pretty good teams this year. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Record predictions, who are they going to upset? I want to hear all about Rutgers football in the comments below. Like, subscribe, pay attention. Previews coming up down the pike. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.